We're now about to go live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now live.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Wow. Wow. Oh, my God. It's a very loud, it's a very loud blast. Yeah. It's a very loud blast, Jeff.
I'll turn it down a little bit.
No, that's good. Oh, did I or you? Oh,
I turned you down a little bit, yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay. I've been turned down several times in my life, Peter.
Not like that, Bob.
Oh, no, that's true. That's exactly true. Look at it.
I changed the potentiometer down a little lower so you wouldn't sound as loud.
I see. And
if you want to get me real technical about it.
Now, if you really hear the voice, it now sounds like I'm doing commercials or something. Isn't this great?
It's much smoother.
Wow, smoother. This is not Rick Barry, personal assistant, who's off delivering flowers. This is Thanksgiving week. It's November 21st, wherever you are. Wherever I am, it is the day before. If you can figure that one out.
The day before the day before.
The day before.
Because the day before is Wednesday.
Right.
We're on Tuesday. So the day before the day before.
So are we this is going to go on Wednesday's show?
No, Tuesday.
Tuesday. So it's tomorrow that we're taping for tomorrow today.
Right. But that'll be Tuesday, and the holiday's on Thursday. So Wednesday's the day before the holiday.
Oh.
And Tuesday's the day before the day before.
That's right on.
And if you follow that logic, I got a bridge.
All right. Oh, that's true. And Peter, get this.
Yes.
Today, today.
You're discombobulated because your personal assistant isn't here.
And I've got a new personal assistant. I'm testing him out right here, and he's No, you're not a nervous wreck, Jeff, are you?
Not really, no.
No. All right, good. Just sit there. We'll make you a nervous wreck within 5 minutes.
Nah, we'll be
Get
fine.
ready.
All right.
No.
Go with the flow, and you're all set.
Yeah. Everybody, wow, it's Tuesday, November 21st, 2023, and counting. My name is Bob Plass. This is the Westfield on Weekend show, and we are so thrilled because it is a big day for me, and I have a great guest, and we're going to have a show which is kind of like all over the place because today today, which means yesterday for you. Here we go again.
Confusing again.
Yesterday was my 78th birthday. So the kindest man today, look at this. I have a birthday cake that says Happy Birthday, Bob, from Peter Coles and the culinary department.
Our culinary department made you the cake that you said you wanted.
So what do I have inside of this beautiful
It is a
cake?
chocolate cake with vanilla icing.
Look at this. Oh, my God, help me. You know, when it's your birthday, suddenly you go, people are coming out of the rafters, is that the expression, to wish me a happy birthday on
birthday.
yeah, thank you. Send money. That would be helpful. You could take out your wallet.
Yeah.
Take your wallet out right now.
Accept
Jeff.
credit cards?
Yeah. 78 years old and counting, and I don't look a day over 75.
Mr. S thought you were in your 60s.
Oh, no, he really did?
Yes.
No.
He's like, how old's Bob? Is he in his 60s? I'm like, no, he's 78. He goes, oh, my God. He says, that gives hope for the rest of us.
Holy mother. Well, yeah.
Don't tilt that thing too hard, man. You got to put that down. You don't want it sliding off or anything.
No, that's true. That's true. I can't wait to cut. Peter, you're going to have a piece?
I'll have some with you. I'll absolutely have some cake with you.
All right. Okay. Because
I sent out a text to everybody else because I think I sent an email out, but I can't remember. You know, life's been crazy.
Yeah.
To stop in and say hello and have some cake.
Oh, that would be very nice, but it's a busy day. We tape in the middle of the afternoon on Monday afternoon, everybody. Look at no one. When I watch Kelly and what's her husband's name now, Kelly and Mark,
okay.
Live with Kelly and Mark. Okay. And I used to watch Kelly and Ryan. They would always have previously recorded, and they would act as if it wasn't previously recorded.
Right.
We just tell them straight up.
So we're right there. And the reason for it is Bob doesn't like to get up anymore because I have to get up at 5 a.m. on Tuesdays, and it jet lags me for the week.
Right.
This would have been early. This would have been like 6 a.m. for you.
Yeah.
So just think about that.
I'm up anyways that early, so.
What time are you up usually?
5:30.
Holy, every day?
Every day.
What time do you go to bed?
Later than I should.
Well, all right. So just give me a time.
Anywhere between 10 and 11.
Oh, you're way later than me.
Oh my God, Peter.
If I'm not in bed by like 9, I'm in trouble because I'm up at 4:30 in the morning to get in here on time.
Can you imagine? I am. I watch television. I sleep between 7:40 and maybe 8:20 at night. 7:40. That's when I'm watching my shows, and I fall asleep. And then the next day I have to. Well, I will say to James, my partner, we are watching this. What happened? And so we have to. He gets really angry at that. So the next day I have to catch up on what I missed. So we watch television from until 7 to 9 or so, and then maybe at 9 o'clock, 9:30, I then start figuring out stuff on on my phone, which is that, like, don't ever go on your phone. It's like it sucks you right in, especially if you're an Instagram person. It just sucks you right in, or on Facebook, going from reel to reel and learning all kinds of wonderful stuff, incidentally, or being entertained in some way. It's another kind of entertainment. Right. But I end up going to bed around 11 and reading until 12:30.
Oh, that's late. That's late.
It's late. And
That's
then, so yeah, and since I need 10 hours of sleep, what time do I get up in the morning then?
Well, if you're, 10 o'clock, maybe.
You hear that, everyone that might call me before 10 o'clock? Yeah. Which is always, anyone can call me. I'm always chipper. I always pretend. Do you do that when somebody's woken? Peter, do you do that when somebody's woken you up in the morning?
Yes.
Then, or wherever, and you've been sleeping, do you pretend that you've been awake? Or do you say you've gotten me out of a sound sleep? If it's your girlfriend, you can say that probably, right? Your fiance.
I like, if I'm completely out of it and discombobulated, I'm like, give me a sec. Hold on. I just woke up. So.
Oh, you say that. See, I pretend that I'm up for
I'd rather not
pretend.
pretend.
The shame of it. The shame that anyone would sleep until 10 a.m. in the morning. Right. Are you looking at me like, I can't believe this man sleeps until 10 a.m.?
No, I know plenty of people who sleep that late.
Oh, really? Give me a list. I'll call them.
I'm not doing it. I'll get in trouble.
Jeff, I need you to help us to pronounce your last name. Jeff
Van Oudenhove.
Van Oudenhove. And you want to take a crack at spelling that, Peter? Van Oudenhove.
I saw it on the script and I was like,
You didn't want to give it a...
I mean, I know Van Heineken's and I know
right.
Van Oosterweens.
Right. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. But
imagine being 5 years old and having to try to write that. You're going to school, and having to write your name on papers.
No. Okay, so it is a Dutch name.
It is.
Because I know that because of the OEU, right? Is it OEU?
OUD.
OUD. Oh, Oud.
The pronunciation that we've always used in my family was Oudenhove, but some other people that I've met actually from like the Netherlands or Belgium,
yes,
they've always pronounced it Oudenhove.
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 So, I bet there's a Oudenhove even there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Peter de Bakker, who's on our show occasionally with his wife Ethel from Cape Cod, is from the Netherlands. His name is de Bakker, and he is born and raised outside of Amsterdam or within Amsterdam. Where are your folks from?
I have no idea.
Oh, for Pete's sake!
I mean, we're all from here.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how far back in the generations it goes before
Before they get over here.
Yeah, I have no idea.
You might have settled New Amsterdam. New Amsterdam is now what?
New York City.
New York. It's so great you say it twice. Yeah. So New Amsterdam. You might have even been part of that whole circle.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You could be royalty over there.
You could be royalty. Are there any Dutch names in your family? I mean, first names?
No, not
because Jeff is not. Peter, Petra. Oh my God, Beatrix with an X.
No,
Beatrix.
Like no.
I'll give you a whole list if you want to start renaming folks.
I mean, yeah, I'll talk to my siblings and let them know.
All right,
I'm going to
please.
choose their names.
Please. What are you doing on the show anyway? How were you just walking by and I said I need a co-host?
Yeah, I mean, you dragged me off the street.
I did.
By, so.
I did. I basically I knew that I was taping today, and I didn't really think about it because I've been so busy with Westfield on weekend stuff. Decemberfest happens in Westfield all week, and next week, and the week after, and the week after. And I have the Mayor's Tree Lighting is this coming Saturday, and we've just come off of 2 pop-up holiday markets down at our center, which is at 105 Elm Street in downtown Westfield. And we have Santa's workshop, which is, and he's going to be in our window on December 9th. And there's a children's event on December 1st. And I was in search. Mrs. Claus called me from the North Pole, Peter. Mrs. Claus called me. She said, "Bob." I said, "Yes, Clara," because we're on close terms. Did you know Mrs. Claus's first name is Clara?
I do now.
Yeah. Well, that's what she told me to call her. I don't know. So Clara Claus called me and said, I need a new outfit for this year for the tree lighting. So I have been helping Mrs. Claus to find a new outfit. You know how difficult it is to buy for an older woman who looks a little like Santa, except she doesn't have the beard. She's lovely, but she, so I finally, Peter, I found the outfit for her today, and I called her up at the North Pole. One of the elves answered. I don't know which one.
Santa's not getting jealous or anything, is he?
No, Santa.
I'm curious about who's
No.
calling.
Yeah. He's forced into that situation where the wife wants a new outfit, and he is so busy making toys and whatever,
He just says, "Bob, take care of the problem."
That's right. So I am known as Pixie to them.
Okay.
They have elves, and
I think you're like Hermie.
Hermie. Do you know Peter?
The dentist.
Yeah, Peter. My nickname in Boston, I lived in this with these wonderful people early on in my career when I was first in Boston, in a boarding house basically for people who were studying at the Mass School of Pharmacy. So there were all these pharmacy students and me in this place, and just because it was pharmacological, there was no drugs being used. Honest to God, and it was the '60s, folks. All right, so
and there were no drugs being used.
No, there were not. Well, I don't know whether they weren't in our house, but so at any rate, Ruth, who is Ruth and Eddie were our landlords, and they would give Christmas parties, and they were big baseball players, and they also enjoyed a beer or two. Okay, so every time I would come home I was working in a special needs in a special ed in Newton, Massachusetts. Every time I would come back to the house, we'd have beer or whatever and whatever. And somehow or other, she started calling me the only person in the world that called me this. And God rest her soul. I love you, Ruth, wherever you are. She called me Pixie. So Santa is the only other one in the world that calls me Pixie.
Right.
Don't you dare call me Pixie. You're not going to call me Pixie.
You got to watch out for the other guy, though.
Well, Peter might call me, but he's writing it down now. I see he's writing it down. Call Bob Pixie.
No.
All right. Okay. Right.
I'm trying to find the clip. I'm gonna have to find it of the Bob's Discount Furniture.
Oh yeah.
Their new tagline is "Oh my Bob," and they sing it.
No.
I'm pulling that clip out just for you.
Oh my God.
Let's play you got to listen to the commercial because it's got to have it in it.
It's officially fall, and this holiday weekend, Bob's Discount Furniture is throwing an Oh My Bob celebration with on-trend dining. Oh My Bob. Feature-packed living rooms.
Oh My Bob.
World-famous Bobapedic mattresses. Oh My Bob. Financing options to fit your budget and so much more. Subject to credit approval, go to mybobs.com for details. Plus, yummy treats in my cafes for the whole family. So stop in at Bob's this holiday weekend and see what will make you say, Oh My Bob.
I want that.
Oh my God.
That's got so many Easter eggs in it.
Oh my.
Oh my Bob.
Oh my Bob.
Oh my.
Yes, I'm going to get a better copy.
You know that
of
one? That's my George Takei impression. How's that?
Yep.
Oh my.
I'm pulling that as a sound
right
clip
on.
that I can play back at any time.
Oh, I love it, Peter. I love it. I love it. I love it. So where were we? Oh, Jeff Vander Hoden. What is it? Vander
Odenhove.
Everyone.
He's not going to get it right ever. You know
I'm not.
Right.
Van Odenhove.
He calls his co-host by the wrong name every day.
Oh
so.
man. Okay. So I was busy doing Decemberfest activities. Go to westfieldonweekends.com. You can see all of them. We've got lots happening. Really, the mayor's tree lighting this week, and the store.
You also have the following weekend is the menorah lighting.
And the Tree Jubilee, which happens starting today on my birthday, right to December 7th. You can go to westfieldonweekends.com, and you can join a raffle for 40 different wreaths and trees, many of which have presents totaling thousands of dollars. There's a tree from the Westfield Gas and Electric that has $1,200 worth of prizes on it, including $500 worth of gas credits. So or electric credits. So you could put $500 toward your bill. That ought to pay for 1 month in the wintertime, right? Yeah, right. So we thank all of those. We thank Lisa Sunderland Burns and Jason Poland, Bob, Kathy Bradford, Jim Johnson Corin, the Reminder Publishing. It's at Roots Athletic Center. You can go and see it in person, or you can go to westfieldonweekends.com for that. So, look, yesterday where was I? Saturday, you were doing a book event. Right, you are a writer.
I am
an author.
Yeah, it's a side gig, you know.
It's a
side
side gig.
Job.
Yeah, not
working towards it.
Yeah, but you are a very good writer. Now I know that because my spouse, who's very critical of writers. Okay, including himself, including me. Yeah, have you been
on numerous occasions?
You've heard my spouse go on.
Yeah,
he raves about this man's writing. And appropriately for my birthday, you write what kind of genre?
Psychological thrillers. Sometimes, people think they lean towards horror, but I don't find them too much horror, but more psychological and supernatural thrillers.
Do you see the
Well, any psychological thriller is going to
include me.
It's going to induce horror by the simple nature of psychological. It's all in your brain. You can't see it. You can't feel it. You can't touch it. Your imagination runs wild.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, we have one of our shows that has a paranormal team. One of our hosts on Thursday. So we
interesting. Yeah.
and that guy's been to your house, Bob.
Oh, twice. The ghost hunters came to my house for 2 evenings
sessions
for 5 hours.
Oh, yeah,
of course. Yeah, we found all kinds of stuff, and we have a reel with orbs flying all over the place. I talked to a little boy from the 1800s or so up in the bedroom up there.
You still live there.
Yeah, I still live there.
Well, also part of what the paranormal
they're afraid
team
of
is,
me. Everyone.
They're not like the ones on TV.
Yeah,
they're there to understand what's going on and to see if the spirits can coexist. And generally, they're not malicious. I mean, there's some that are malicious, but what they found is very few. Most of them just have an attachment to the place.
Have you ever had malicious spirits in your books? Malicious spirits sounds like delicious cake.
Well, not spirits, no. But I've written about and this is all fiction. But I've written about like demons and angels, things like that, but not any malicious spirits.
Oh, I can't wait to talk to you about all of this. But since it is November 20th, and get this, everyone, Thanksgiving is this weekend. Are you going over the river and through the woods to your grandmother's house?
Well, over the river and through the woods to my sister's house, anyway.
To your sister's house.
Yeah.
And where does she live?
Feeding Hills.
So you are going over the river and through the woods.
Yeah.
Peter, are you going over the river and through the woods to your grandmother's house for Christmas, for Thanksgiving?
I'm going to my future sister-in-law's house down in Connecticut.
Are you going? That was I asked.
Yes, over the river and through some woods. Yes.
Yes, you are. And,
yes.
We are not. We're staying on the island of Westfield. We're going to our. No, I'm not actually. I hope I'm not staying home, because that means I'm going to cook. Well, although I'm doing the Brussels sprouts beforehand. We're going to our friends Ron and Judy's house for Thanksgiving, which are up maybe 2 minutes from my house, 3 minutes from my house. So
nice.
You can walk
there.
I could walk, and it's not family. Oh, I hope my sister's not listening.
Speaking of which, Rob Goff says happy birthday.
Oh.
Enjoy some extra cake for him.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. I will. I could save it for. I could save it. We could save it.
No,
piece.
That's fine. Bring it home.
No, I'm gonna share it with all of you guys here and the students and the teachers and stuff.
Well, let them know because they leave in about 20 minutes. So.
Oh Jesus! Oh yeah, Jesus! In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy God, I'm praying here. I'm praying.
So do you want to take a break and start dishing out some cake?
I do. I'm going to play Over the River and Through the Woods to Grandmother's House We Go by the Pentatonics. This is with that Irish fiddler of theirs. Her name is Lindsay Sterling, and she kind of like dances around when she plays a violin.
Okay.
Like most people who play the violin.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Over the River and Through the Woods. This is from the top Christmas, the greatest hits of the Pentatonics in the holidays. Here we go.
House we go. The horse knows the way to carry the sleigh through wide and drifted snow. Over the river and through the woods, oh how the wind does blow. It stings the toes, it bites the nose as over the ground we go. Extremely slow, it's just so hard to wait.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, and advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is November 20th, 1945. No, that was the year of my birth. It is November 21st.
So you're a baby boomer then?
2023.
Because you're post-World War II.
It was actually, I think that it was, I was conceived during World War II.
Okay.
All right, you can think about it that way. I was conceived during World War II. I've got my personal assistant, Jeff, here. He's off delivering cake and everything. Thank you so much. Peter, I had a taste of the cake that you facilitated for my birthday. It's so delicious.
Doesn't culinary do a good job?
Oh, my God. Hi. Oh, look at you. Come on in. Did you?
Go have some cake, Sophia.
There's this lovely woman, young there.
That's Sophia.
Sophia. Oh, would you, Jeff? Would you mind showing Sophia where the cake is for her? Yeah, good. We'll take care. See, I've got him working already.
Isn't he supposed to be your guest, Bob?
Yeah, he is. But okay, yours. Oh, good. Oh, no, here, take them all. Here, right there. There we are. All right, there we go. All right.
Just
Wonderful. Folks, this scintillating radio, I know, when we've got, okay.
Well, it's a birthday party.
It's a birthday party, and Sophia's just one of my favorites over there. All right, so I'm eating the cake. Where were we? Peter?
Talking about your birth.
Oh, my birth was in,
yes.
Was during, well, I was conceived, Jeff, during World War II, at the end of World War II, okay? Before it ended, and then I was born after it ended. So I was born in November. The World War II ended. When did it? I think it ended in August, didn't it, Peter? At least the war in
Europe. I think
the war in Europe ended before the war in before the bombs were dropped in Hiroshima, right?
Correct. Yes.
So, at any rate, I always think of myself as a World War II. There's something about me that's World War II.
Okay.
And my dad was so proud of being in World War II. He was at Midway Island. And we still have his jacket, his uniform hanging up. I have it hanging up next to Mrs. Claus's outfit, believe it or not. This is crazy. In the bedroom, there is a Mrs. Claus outfit, and there is my father's CB outfit right next to it. So he's in Santa heaven right now.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But at any rate, I love the idea of having been born during the 1940s when music was at its peak, in a way. The music from the 1940s, do you listen to that all Jeff?
Not really, no.
No.
I know I've heard it, but I don't. It's not something I regularly listen to. No.
That's like big band swing, right?
Big band and whatever. Do you appreciate it at all?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Oh, look at everybody getting a piece of cake. Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. Oh, they're all wishing me happy birthday over there. All right. Good. You take everything you can get, folks, on your birthday. Yeah. I think what you do is you go from store to store or
you are
restaurant.
quite popular around here, Bob.
Milk it.
Yeah. You milk it for all it's worth. That's right. Yeah. So at any rate, the 1945 music for me was so wonderful. It was the era of Glenn Miller. It was the era of big band music. The rock and roll sounds didn't come into existence until the 1950s. So basically, you're looking at somebody who's been through, I've been through the big band, rock and roll, the folk scene, what followed the folk scene, heavy metal, the Beatles. No, Beatles came first, then heavy metal. And then after heavy metal came what? Punk?
Grunge, punk.
Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now where are we?
Alternative.
Alternative, yeah. I love all of those, actually. Mm-hmm. And Peter will tell you, as many of our listeners will tell you, that because of this show, I've become an aficionado of
the Grateful Dead.
The Grateful Dead.
Okay.
Yeah. I had no idea that all of these bands that I avoided all those years, I don't. I'm not playing any on the radio today. Incidentally, I'm playing some stuff that I really, really love from my past and future or whatever.
Sure.
But that those when you don't widen your horizons when you're young, and learn to appreciate everything, and don't shut down the potential of what you might enjoy, especially and maybe even as an older person. I want you to go into the vault and start listening to big band music, Jeff.
Okay, I can do that.
I
mean, I grew up on the old rock and roll. My mom loved Elvis and all of the oldies like that. So I grew up listening to all of that, and I really enjoy listening to that music. But when you start getting before the 50s, I don't think she really listened to that much of.
Your mother didn't listen to
No, she was. Both my parents were also like you, born in the 40s.
Oh, okay.
But her generation was,
a little. She was a little younger than I.
No, older than you.
She's older than me, and she opted for the rock and roll of the 50s rather than the big band sounds of the 40s.
Yeah, I think as soon as Elvis came out, she was just hooked.
Oh, it's got to be those tight suits and the swiveling hips.
Oh, it's the hips. It's the hips.
It's the.
He's a good-looking man, right?
It's a good-looking man, and his music is
He's
wonderful.
Got a voice like nobody else, right?
I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to watch the Priscilla movie. Do you know? Have you heard about this movie, Peter? Priscilla.
Looking at it from her perspective.
Yeah, it's another.
Well, the success of Elvis last year, I would suppose that makes sense.
Yeah, I did see the Elvis movie.
Did you
year,
see the Elvis movie?
Yeah, I didn't know about the Priscilla movie.
Priscilla movie just came out, so it sort of tells the story of Priscilla from her marriage to Elvis prior to, because she was like 15 years old when she married him. Right. Do you know that?
She was much younger, yeah.
I don't understand that.
It happened a lot.
Well, I got to watch the movie.
Days, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, what do you mean back in those days?
Well, Jerry Lee Lewis also, right? He.
Oh my God, he was 13. They were competing for the whether.
Right.
Yeah. I know a man who. No, never mind. We won't go there, but I just don't understand it, so I'm going to have to watch this movie. But it's interesting that Priscilla, who grew into being an actress and a comedian, she was in those airplane movies, right?
Yeah.
And she really took
not
care.
Airplane, Naked Gun.
Naked Gun movies.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. Leslie Nielsen.
That's true. She was great in those movies.
Yeah. And then she gives birth to all of these talented people. Young folks. I mean, it's really sort of interesting to me that Presley had a really, his legacy is there.
Right.
Is anybody singing his music now from the Presley family? Is Riley singing? Riley Presley?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to watch this movie, everyone. Priscilla. I think it's in the theaters, and it will probably be on Netflix really soon. So let's listen to a big band sound, and then we might come back. And you're here to talk about books and writing and authors and stuff, and I've got you talking. You also work for what do you go?
He's familiar with some of the gear.
Company.
What is it? What is it?
I work for a company called Pelican.
Pelican.
Yeah, we're a protective packaging company, make protective cases and things. We do a lot of military work, packaging, satellites. And
Could it have anything to do with why is it Pelican? Did you ever, in your course of your work for them, found out why they called it Pelican? Or were they from a place where they're Portugal or someplace where there are pelicans walking the street?
No, well, the company that I worked for, we were originally called Hardig Industries, and that company was named after the founder, the owner, Jim Hardig. And the company that I worked for, Hardig, was sold to Pelican Products back in 2009, I believe it was, 2008, 2009. So I think the founder of Pelican, Dave Parker, he was big into diving. And I think that might have something to do with the name.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Did Hardig make rolling racks too? Were
yes.
they the company that had a place in Munson too? Or no?
No, I don't know about a place in Munson. I don't recall that, but we do make rack equipment.
Yeah, okay.
Rack cases.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. And your specialty at Pelican right now is casing?
So I'm in the engineering department, and we make we design the interiors for those cases, whether it be foam cushioning to protect equipment or metal work, suspended decks, things like that that can travel across the country. Rail, freight, airplane, ship, whatever, and the equipment has to get to its destination.
What's the biggest container you make? You're not making those big containers that go on ships?
Not the big steel containers, but because everything we do is plastic.
Yeah.
But we've made some pretty large cases. I want to say up to like 21 feet long cases.
That's a pretty large case.
Yeah.
That's probably probably for military equipment.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we do is for military.
But the nice thing is, Bob, is like the case that case out there I bought years ago.
We have a case right out here. You were sitting there and you said, it's my job.
It's got a remote cameras in it, but I bought the case and I used it for a different application, and when it came time to repurpose it, I just ordered new foam, so it's modular. So you can replace the foam and then redo the cutouts because it's laser cut in squares. So you can pull out the squares as needed. And now, instead of having just one field camera in it that I used a couple of times to ship on an airplane, now it has a remote cameras in it, all of the gear needed for 3 remote cameras, and they all stay secure when in a car or on a plane or whatever. And they're made to go pressurized, unpressurized. So they have valves in them that can make sure that the case doesn't explode but retains a level of waterproof.
With all the stuff he's talking, I mean, like Peter's really knowledgeable about this sort of stuff, you can see. But that is what you get. What do you design a case specifically for an object? So the object comes first and then the case?
Yeah, I mean, we have off-the-shelf cases, like, for instance, the one that he was talking about is an off-the-shelf case, and it comes with, pick and pluck foam, which is you can cut out your own equipment.
What was that? Pick
and
pluck.
Pick and pluck. Yeah,
like 1-inch squares almost.
Yeah. But in what I do in my department, everything that we do is custom. So the custom work that comes through our department is a customer has a piece of equipment, they say they want it packaged, and we have to design the packaging for it. So we would actually cut out the foam in the exact shape or whatever shape the customer might want.
Right. How has the laser industry and or the internet helped, or the computers helped? Has it changed the way you do work?
I would say, yeah. I mean, when I first started,
you worked for them for a while.
I've worked
in this industry for a while.
Yeah. When I first started, we were already past, drawing things on boards. Although I learned how to, do the drafting and stuff on, pencil and board. But it was 2D AutoCAD drawings that you worked with. So everything you had to do was, offsetting lines and trying to make it now. But now with solid modeling, it's so much easier. You can envision things much easier. Creating your drawings is just so much faster. And you can actually take the customer's components. They can send you a model of their component, and you can plop it right into your software and build the packaging right around their equipment. So it does make it a lot easier.
Wild. Yeah. And does the sponge or whatever you're put with the foam change with whatever, like, for instance, is there an object that, it can't be packaged in foam or sent in foam and needs something else? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have to do calculations. A lot of times, sometimes a customer is not picky and they just want something to index their item. They just want something for show. Maybe they're a salesperson. They want to get out to the market.
Sure.
But for other items that are more sensitive, a lot of military stuff or some audio equipment, visual equipment, laser equipment.
What about musical instruments and stuff like that?
We've done some musical instruments. We're not heavy into that because there are actual instrumental companies that have their own cases and are more suited for that type of work.
But like a rifle case is almost the size of a guitar, so you could probably fit them in there.
Yeah, we do
a lot of gun.
We do a lot of gun cases.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the customers, they specify like how sensitive their equipment is. And when we're packaging it, we have to do some calculations, and we have to determine what would be the best foam material to use to package that equipment to make sure that no harm comes to it. It doesn't get damaged.
So is there a department there at Pelican where people are standing on a rooftop and dropping packages to see if they break? I bet you can model most of those forces in a computer now, right?
You can, but we actually have a test lab where we actually do drop equipment. We do a lot of different testing, although it was before my time, but I've heard stories where they actually did do some testing where they took cases and threw them off the roof to see how the impact would take it. But our test lab...
How great would that be to have that job? I mean, like, right? Holy mother.
Actually, we did have a test more recently where we had to drag one of our cases across the parking lot with a fork truck to see how it goes over bumps and everything on the asphalt and stuff. So that was kind of interesting to watch. But we have a full test lab where we can test extreme temperatures, hot and cold, drops, submersion into water. How deep can our cases go before they start to leak?
What is the speaking as a green person? Okay, green in that I don't know anything, and green that I wonder about the materials that you use. Are they materials that will be here when time ends?
Well, plastic.
And where does that come from? Where does that foam? Or that you open up a box and oh God!
It comes from my ex-brother-in-law at ExxonMobil. He does all the plastics.
Yeah.
Actually,
we do have.
We're blaming him,
from
Peter.
ExxonMobil. That is true.
Is that right?
Yeah, we do.
ExxonMobil is one of the biggest base plastic manufacturers in the country.
Yeah.
And their main plant is in Baytown, just outside of Houston. I know this because I've been there.
Wow.
Listen, did you know that we were going to...
But I do know we use ExxonMobil for some of our material.
Yeah. But it's funny because we last week, Westfield on Weekends was given this charity, the Not-Profit of the Year award from the Westfield Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, everyone. We had a wonderful time at your event, and I appreciate all the kudos that the board of directors and the folks who work, the volunteers for Westfield on Weekends, received on that evening. But they gave me a case with the packaging of this beautiful crystal kind of ornament or whatever, and it fit very nicely in there. And I looked and the strangest thing, I had an acting teacher in New York City who wanted to soundproof a room. So he got all of this, what looked like the package stuff. And so every time I see that, I think of this soundproofing kind of thing, and is that's similar probably, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, right here on the microphones we use
really?
Foam.
The foam,
like that, yeah.
Bob, we'll crack the Pelican case before he leaves.
Oh, can we show everyone and look at this?
Well, you can look at it. I don't know if you want to pull it. It's pretty heavy. I don't know.
All right. So we're not. We'll we'll deny you that. But if you want to come for a visit, send me $10 and I'll bring you in, and I'll even have.
You're
Jeff,
not going to charge people. It's open to the public.
Yeah, no, we're not going to charge. All right. So look. I'm going to play this song from the 1940s. Actually, this song was popular in the year of my birth, 1945. It was one of the biggest hits of that year. It was Harry James and his orchestra with his songstress. They called him songstresses then. Kitty Callan was the woman's name.
All right.
Kitty Callan. And this song, Harry James was a trumpeter. And this, you got to remember that the song was written at the end of World War II. So, folks, soldiers were returning home in World War II. Mm-hmm. So this song it's been a long, long time. So, you know, when you listen to the words and you think these are soldiers coming home from a war, it just really makes you really appreciate this number. Also, the words and music. Well, the music is by Julie Stein, who wrote Gypsy and Funny Girl and all these big Broadway shows. Mm-hmm. And this is one of his early hits when he was writing, I think, for Hollywood. It's been a long, long time. And Sammy Kahn, who wrote a lot of the Frank Sinatra music as well. Wow. So here we go. It's a Kiss Me Once.
All right.
Kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Haven't felt like this, my dear, since can't remember when. It's been a long, long time. You'll never know how many dreams I dream about you, or just how empty they all seem without you. So kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardie siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtsBeat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is November 21st, 2023, but we are taping before, and it just happens to be my birthday, everyone. Yeah. Send money. Or you could donate to Westfield on weekends. That would be great, wouldn't it? I mean, that's a way to... But I never wanted... I don't want to celebrate my birthday and then say, give me money, but...
Well, you do, but you
don't. I don't.
Yeah.
I do, but I don't. Jeff, I think I wrote your name here, Jeff Vander Hoven.
Yeah, that's
not right.
That's not right.
It's
Odenhove. Yeah.
Odenhove. I reversed it.
It's better up here, but without the R.
Oh.
So it's written correctly here, but not here.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. You have that all the time, right?
People add letters to my name all the time.
Right. But you know what? When you think about it, as an author, Jeff is an author of psychological thrillers and horror films, or horror novels, and that's why I thought it was pretty appropriate that he came on my birthday. I'm a psychological thriller in myself.
Yeah.
And kind of horrifying to begin with, right?
Oh yeah, I'm scared.
He came an hour early to the studio because I goofed it all up. And I said, "You're welcome to sit here and, I don't know, join in." And I had no idea what we were going to talk about for the first hour. But we managed to get through it.
Yeah. It was, music. And
music.
Pelican cases.
Are you saying we bored the hell out of people? No.
I think he was surprised at how much we knew about his other, his
His other day job.
Yeah.
Day job. Everybody, Westfield on Weekends is celebrating Decemberfest. I want you to know that this coming Saturday evening, if you're watching this before this Saturday, this is the Small Business Saturday, and we need you to shop local and shop often and shop in our downtown and all those small mom and pop stores throughout the area from Agawam to Southwick to West Springfield to Westfield. Please support those folks. They've been through a lot with COVID, and we're just getting back, and we need you to do that. And so on Saturday, Small Business Saturday downtown, there are lots of things happening all day long. And you can go to Westfield on weekends to see what's happening at the shop. We have a wonderful pop-up market with vendors, etc. There's lots happening downtown on that day. And that evening at 6 o'clock on the Park Square Green, we are celebrating the arrival of Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Clara and her new costume, or new suit, I guess you call it.
Yep.
And Mr. Claus will be arriving, and we look forward to that.
He's got the same old suit.
Oh, he's got the same old suit. Yeah, same old red suit. Yeah, I might get him a new one. Originally that suit was a blue suit. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, the blue. It actually came. It's a derivation. He used to be where he came from, where Santa came from. They wore blue, and it wasn't until Clement Clark Moore did that. 'Twas the night before Christmas and all through the house thing.
Yep.
Okay. That red was associated with Santa and a little red suit and all of that sort of stuff. And Coca-Cola had a real ad campaign with red suits. And so consequently, if you're going to there's a little children's book out there about how Santa, we did it one year actually for an event where Santa starts with a blue suit and then goes to a red suit. And so this year I was going to do a blue suit, and then I thought, no. But then I found out that our great Russian friends here in town, Father Frost has a blue suit.
Oh.
So some year we might just have Father Frost arrive with his niece that he travels with a young niece of his. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember what her name is, but and they celebrate in January. On January 6th is when Father Frost comes. So Santa does the deliveries all the way up until December 25th, and then Father Frost takes over.
It takes over, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm there for both of them, as you are, right?
I'll support them, yeah.
Oh, very, very good. So, look, 6 o'clock, we've got the Westfield High School Pep Band, the Westfield High School Show Choir. We've got wonderful hot cocoa. We're giveaways from our WOW's premier sponsor is Bank ESB. They're going to be giving out glow wands. We have some wonderful hats for kids. It's a really wonderful evening of community. So get out there on Saturday evening, and we look forward to that after shopping local all day long. And there are some concerts, et cetera, happening over the weekend as well. So after Thanksgiving, we look forward to Black Friday. And Black Friday, you buying anything for Black Friday at all? Peter, are you thinking of buying anything for Black Friday for your fiance?
No, I already have her gift.
Oh, okay. Yeah, how about you, Jeff?
No, I've always hated the idea of shopping before December.
Oh, so, really?
I know there's good deals, but I have a hard time with it.
So when do you begin shopping? 24th, December 24th.
No, after about the first week in December, I'll start, buying some things here.
I gotcha.
And of course, that kind of peters out towards Christmas, and I have to scramble to get the last minute gifts right before Christmas.
Oh my God. I remember one year, this is terrible, but I was teaching at Agawam High School, everyone. This is back in 1970s sometime. And it was Christmas. It was the day before Christmas. And somehow or other, I think we had school the day before Christmas until 12 noon or so. Do you remember this, Peter? I don't know. I think you're a little too young for this.
What?
But we didn't have the whole day, Christmas Eve day off.
Mm-hmm. It was a half day.
It was a half a day. Right. So I was at school, and there was a teacher, a lovely teacher, who said, "Bob, why don't you come on over to my house after we'll have a little drink or whatever, Christmas cheer." So I hadn't bought a present, and I was thinking of that afternoon to buy presents, and I went to her house, and it was like 4 o'clock when I left the house. Okay.
Yep.
I had 2 hours to buy my family's gifts. 2 hours. And here I am, a grown man. I think I might have given some lotion that I bought at a drugstore. That was a pitiful time. They didn't have credit. I mean, I could have gone in like my brother does, goes in and he buys these cards that, for Barnes & Noble and Amazon or whatever, and then you give out gift cards. They didn't have those back then, so I had to come up with something that could be wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
Really pathetic. And I just happened to have a friend of mine had I was visiting. I called him and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. He said, well, I have a coffee maker, a Mr. Coffee. That was the name of the company, right. Mr. Coffee, that I bought, and I don't want it. Do you want it? I said, I'll be right over. So I gave my parents a Mr. Coffee that I didn't buy. I was given this thing, so I wrapped it up.
But did they enjoy
it? Pathetic Christmas. Honest to God. Merry pathetic Christmas. At any rate, so this is a time let's get back and let's talk about writing and all of that when we come back. But, I wanted to say that if I look back at times in my life that were important and people in my life that were important, I think of Louis Armstrong, of all people, because my acting career I really began to know that I was an actor and had some chops when I did Hello, Dolly, and I played Cornelius Hackle. And Hello, Dolly, turns out, was the show that James, my spouse, toured with Carol Channing. So Hello, Dolly has always been in my life. And did you know that who do you think Hello, Dolly, you know the song Hello, Dolly, right?
Yeah, I mean, not intimately.
Not intimate. All right. 1964 Hello, Dolly was on the top of the charts in 1964. Who did Louis Armstrong bump off the top of the charts in 1964 with a song that really wasn't rock and roll, that was this Broadway show tune sung by the oldest man to ever have a #1 song, the oldest man. At that point, I think Louis must have been in his late 60s or 70s when he did this song. Do you know who they beat off the top of the charts in 1964?
I'm going to say it must be the Beatles.
You're absolutely right. Yep. Yeah. Let me read it from this. See here. Wait a minute. This is very, very interesting. I can find the damn thing. Oh, hello, Dolly. Oh, of the five. Okay, today is Hello Day, so I was looking for hello songs, and then I said, well, hello, Dolly, and then I read this, that of all the hello songs on the list, the one that's perhaps most surprising was Satchmo Armstrong when he was 62, okay, when the tune reached number one, making him the oldest artist to ever have a number one song on the Hot 100. Even more surprising is that he displaced the Beatles on that number one song, and he got Can't Buy Me Love. He got rid of Can't Buy Me Love. And Dolly wound up being the third biggest single of that year, behind the first two Beatle numbers. Do you remember the first two Beatles songs that made the charts? Peter, you might be able to help with the...
Hold Your Hand?
Oh, my God, that's one. What's the other one?
Hard Day's Night. No, I don't.
Oh, no, that was later.
Right.
That was later. She Loves You. Oh. She loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. We can't sing the Beatles songs on the radio. Do you know that?
We can't. They could put us in YouTube jail.
They put us in YouTube jail if we play any of the songs that the Beatles
because their copyright, the rights owners don't have a deal with YouTube for royalties. That's why.
So anytime I have a show where I play a Beatles number, I don't do it any longer. That's why you never hear the Beatles, everyone.
Well, you can, but you'd only hear it live.
You'd only hear it live. We could do it live, but then if we didn't want it to be...
The recording would have to get edited out by YouTube.
Yeah. Archived forever. We don't have shows with Beatles in it.
You'd intro the song, there'd be a blank spot, and then it would come back to you.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yes.
Well, look at Hello, Dolly, Louis Armstrong, 1964. My favorite role of all time as an actor was really Cornelius Hackl, and secondly, the Fantastics, but Cornelius Hackl and Hello, Dolly. And my pseudonym, sometimes when I'm trying to be somebody else, I go by Connie Hackl.
Okay.
That is my name. Not Pixie.
Not Pixie, right.
Not Pixie. Connie, as in Cornelius. You got not Connie as in Constance.
Right, right.
Yeah. Connie
I grew up with a Cornelius, We just called him Corny.
Corny, yeah, did you?
Corny.
Yep. Do you have a friend Corny?
I don't.
His name was Bob, legit. His God-given name on his birth certificate is Cornelius McGillicuddy.
Oh my aching name.
Right.
That was awesome.
Cornelius McGillicuddy.
Dude was and is awesome.
Is he still alive? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, a shout out to Corny McGillicuddy.
He lives in the area too. So.
Oh gosh. Hello, Dolly. Cornelius McGillicuddy.
Hello, Dolly. This is Louis Dolly. Mighty glad to have you back where you belong. You lookin' swell, Dolly. I can tell, Dolly. You keep going, still going, you still going strong. Yeah, bro. Yeah, boy. Ba-da-ba-dee-ba, old favorite tunes when they win. Oh, yeah, boy. And no rap, but us what? Them to get on it down. ever go but when. And don't you ever go but when.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is November 21st. Who would have believed Thanksgiving came upon us? Does it?
Quick.
Yeah. Just as this is Jeff V. We're calling him Jeff V. Van Oudenhove. I got it because look at these books right here. Jeff.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeff Van Oudenhove is one of James Homan, my spouse. Happy birthday, James. Thank you for. I'm wearing James. James gave me a sweater from Banana Republic.
Nice. I'm wearing Banana Republic.
Where Banana Republic, if you're out there, send both of us a gift package.
That's right.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Yeah. So but Jeff is one of. He looks forward to Jeff Van Oudenhove's novels.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it.
He really loves your novels. And he said to me the other, you got to read this Alphabet, not letters.
Killer.
Alphabet Killer, which is a novel by Jeff Vander Oudenhove. How do I get this, incidentally?
So all of my books are available on Amazon. That book right there can be purchased at Barnes & Noble, but usually you have to request it. Barnes & Noble will buy it for you and they'll stock it for you, but you have to request it.
Yeah, it's a thing that Barnes & Noble has. I know that. Barnes & Noble is great for local authors, but at the same time you have to be a member. If you've published under Amazon or if you're at Amazon, they don't like that. They prefer you to be B&N, right?
Well, they'll actually order through another company called Ingram Spark.
Yes.
Yep. And so that book is also through Ingram Spark, so they can actually purchase that book.
The Alphabet Killer, Dark Place. Oh, this must be a sequel. Dark Lane.
Yeah, it's a series.
It's a series. It's the Dark series.
Yep.
Oh, Dark Queen. Mm-hmm. Dark Child. Oh, and here's where you said, I'm sick of this dark stuff.
That's right, yeah.
Is that right, what you said?
Well, no, I enjoyed it, but I just wanted to come up with a catchy name that kind of made a conclusion.
The Final Dark. Oh, my gosh. Wait a minute. This is a short story book.
That's right, not part of the series.
Not part of the series. They do this all the time. I notice with my mystery novels, like Louise Penny or whatever, they always have, what was it? I want to say Kenny Rankin, but it's Ian Rankin. I read a lot of his novels. I've read all of them. And every so often he'll come out with a short story, and I'll get all excited that and then I look, it's a short story. They're just trying to make bucks on this guy's name. So here you are, Screams in the Dark and Other Twisted Tales.
Right. There's a meaning behind that.
Tell us.
Not just the Twisted Tales part was I wanted all of the endings to have some really wild twist endings, so I wanted that to be in the title, so I just said Twisted Tales.
Oh, honest to God. How does a man who is an engineer start to write horror novels, mystery psychological thrillers?
Well, it's funny because I honestly don't know.
Well, you had to sit down and write something.
You know, I liked, honestly, when I was younger, I enjoyed reading comic books, and it wasn't the horror comic books. You know, it was. I wanted to be a writer for Marvel Comics, actually, because I really enjoyed those stories. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then as I got a little older, I kind of got into poetry and started writing poetry, not dark poetry.
Love poems to your now wife.
Yeah, well, maybe not to my now wife, but, just when I was younger in school, girlfriend or whatever.
Your wife, you never wrote a poem for your wife?
I think I have.
Oh, God, we're getting into deep doo-doo here. So, all right, so go on.
So I started off with poetry, and I enjoyed writing classes and English class and things like that. And just when it came time when I decided that I wanted to write something, I don't know. I didn't think about the comic books or the poetry that I was writing, but I would always kind of lean towards the movies that I like to watch, and I kind of like thrillers and I like horrors and things like that from what I'm watching. So I kind of started writing about that, and I wanted something that was psychological, cerebral. The stories that I ended up with was not exactly how I, anticipated the stories going. They just kind of took on a life of their own. And
which was the first one that you wrote? Would it have been The Dark one?
Dark Place, right here.
The Dark Place. Okay. So first in the Dark series.
Yeah. So that book started off, I started writing that when I believe it was around 2010. And the story I wanted to tell was a simple story, but just wanted to play with the reader's mind. I wanted the main character to be trapped somewhere in a dark place, but like you didn't know where he was, and he didn't know where he was. And I wanted flashback sequences within the story, and I wanted the reader to not quite be sure if they were reading from the character's point of view of where he was, or some flashback sequence, or whatever, or was it everything in his mind? And as I started writing the story, everything kind of evolved, and it completely changed to something different. So
that I've heard that when you're writing, that sometimes the characters take you where they want to go rather than where you thought they might want to go.
And I found that to be true with my stories. I come up with a basic idea in my head, and as I start writing, the story kind of sends you in a different direction,
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so the first in the Dark series, these are the first words of the Dark series. Then there are 5 of them?
5, yep.
5 of them. And then bonus book with your short stories, or is that, you consider that the addendum to this is a bonus?
Yeah, no, it's just completely different.
All right, okay, all right. The Dark Place by Jeff Van Oudenhove. Prologue, Enter the Darkness. We are all born with a certain light inside us. We are all born with hope. We are all born innocent. It is a constant struggle, however, to maintain that hope, to maintain that light that we so desperately want to hold on to. When does the darkness begin to set in? How can one prevent it from consuming their very soul? It latches onto us with a vice-like grip and does not want to let go. Eventually, our lives are inexplicably changed by the ever-growing darkness that begins to infect us.
That sounds pretty good when you're reading it, doesn't it?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I got to put one of these books for you on tape sometime. Just yeah. But it's interesting when you're an actor and you're reading you're reading something of someone else's. You either can read it easily and it falls within your cadence, or it doesn't.
Right.
And I find that when I'm reading a book, if it's not in my cadence, or if it's written, like, for instance, it's really hard to, I don't know who reads William Faulkner books that they have sentences that go from one page to 20 down. I mean, he can have one sentence that goes for pages.
Yeah, that's too much.
Okay, yeah. All those commas, I don't know how to read. I don't know how to do it. But your words just fall off. And when you're reading a book, I feel that that's a really important thing. I mean, who are your influences? I mean, who are your heroes in terms of writing like this?
Yeah, don't laugh.
No?
Actually, I like Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh,
So
of course,
there's,
course.
There's the poetry side of it, right?
Yeah.
I like Stephen King, although some of his books are kind of heavy with the wording, like you're saying, and he, in my opinion, he gets, he puts a little bit too much, just too much into the descriptive nature of the story. I tend to describe things in much shorter sentences, much shorter paragraphs.
Right.
But I like the ideas, that he has and such like that. But
Yeah. So Stephen King, Edgar Allan Poe. There's a wonderful. I recommend this to everyone out there, and it's a great screenwriter. I can't remember what the guy's name is. It Mike Flanagan? The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix right now. He incorporates so many of the poems and stories into one logical series of great television, worth seeing.
Yeah, I've seen the first episode, and
oh my God, you are in for it. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I love it. Dark Place. Okay, so you then start this, and you write it.
Yep.
Then what? And first, do you write longhand, or are you writing on your laptop?
I'm on my laptop, yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, right?
We had to write longhand for many years. I don't know how anyone does it. And there are writers that still write longhand. I wonder if Stephen King uses a typewriter or used to use a typewriter.
Yeah, I don't know how somebody could do that. My hand would be dead after, writing a little bit like that, but yeah.
Well, what's your method?
So what I was doing was when I really got serious about writing a book, I would come home from work every day and I'd sit down and I would try to write for about 2 hours if I could. If I couldn't, and I only got an hour out of it, well, then at least I wrote something, and I had to get in the habit of just trying to do it every single day, just so I could keep going, and complete the book.
Yeah. And so are you concentrating on a paragraph? Do you write out of sequence? Do you write today and then look at what you wrote yesterday, et cetera? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so what I do when I'm first setting up a book or an idea for a book is, I don't know, I probably do this a little strange, but what I do is I have an idea.
Right.
And then I just write down chapter titles. I have no idea what the story is going to be about, where it's going to go, but I try to come up with unique chapter titles that I feel are catchy, that I would like to read myself.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I'll list out about 25 chapter titles, and then I'll write that chapter based on the title. But I know that the second chapter, for instance, is this, so I have to somehow connect what I'm currently writing. I have to have that match the title of the chapter that I'm writing, but I also have to have it connect to the next chapter title. And then I just continue on from there. And somehow I managed to come up with a book.
There was a playwright, there is a playwright, wonderful playwright, and he writes for movies now, Tony Kushner. He wrote Angels in America. And his method of writing was very interesting in that when he was writing Angels in America, which won the Pulitzer, incidentally, it was a 6-hour, 2-part show that you can see on television right now. Google, it's worth absolutely seeing. But he said, okay, I want to do a story about Mormons, about AIDS, about Roy Cohn, the famous person, and somehow or other he connects them all. And something happens, I think, in Tony Kushner's brain, and probably yours, when you've got these triggers that say, how am I going to get from here to there?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just looking at the alphabet killer. Okay, so your prologue says it begins, but let's look at do you know the title of the first chapter of Alphabet Killers?
D. After it begins, am I right? Is D?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It is D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Street Chatter is number. Yeah.
It's number 2.
Yeah. Chapter 3 is E.
E. And then I'm not sure right after E, I can't remember, but I know I go back to A, B, and C after that. So I started with D, went to E, and then I kind of go back.
And what's the last chapter called?
The last letter.
Z? The last letter, everyone.
Yeah.
Well, look, if I'm writing a book and I need help in getting from here to there, so I'm going to write a chapter title. A, B, C.
Pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
As long as you know the alphabet.
Yeah. So give us a little clue then. Okay, so this is your latest.
That's my latest, yeah.
Great reviews, The Alphabet Killer, a novel.
Yeah.
So you started by you said, you tell us.
Yeah, I wanted to write I really enjoy reading, and this is going to sound bad probably, but I enjoy stories with serial killers. Jack the Ripper, things like that.
Let me move my chair.
Yeah. So I decided that I wanted to write a book about a detective who is on the trail of a serial killer and how his life is impacted by the serial killer. And he's on the job, but he's trying to also protect his son that he's taking care of. And he starts, as he gets more involved with his case, he starts devolving a little bit, and he starts going down a dark path, and just trying to catch this killer. And so the killer itself, I came up with the Alphabet Killer only because I really liked the name. I thought it was an intriguing name.
Right.
And this is before I did a little research and found out that there actually was an Alphabet Killer back in the 70s.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Yeah,
of course. I wondered about that.
Yeah. So when I found that out, I decided that I wanted to somehow reference it within my book. So there's actually some references to the original Alphabet Killer from the 70s in the book.
Where was that killer?
In Rochester, New York.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so anyways, I wanted my Alphabet Killer to be slightly different than that killer. And this killer is killing people based on the first letter of their name. So he goes out in search of people who are, begin with the letter. And he goes in order, so his first victim, their name begins with the letter A and then B and so forth.
If I was Zebediah, I feel a little bit, at least I have a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is his modus operandi. There is nothing beyond that. I mean, so you've got the detective, so you have to build a character around a detective.
Right.
And not and make him distinctive because there are there are many detectives in books.
Right.
So you want to make him distinctive, number one.
Right.
And then you've got a serial killer, and you know that it's the Alphabet Killer, and he's got this hang-up. But he also has to be sort of...
He's got to stand out.
Stand out.
Yeah. So, the detective probably doesn't stand out as much as the killer, because there's been so many different, detective stories.
Oh gosh, of course.
And things.
He's
a little gruff. He doesn't like taking orders from his superiors. He likes to do things his own way, but he's got a good sense about him. He goes with his gut a lot of times, more so than what the paperwork is leading him to do. But the serial killer is definitely the standout of the story because
is it written in third person, first person?
It's first person, so it's written through the eyes of the detective.
Okay.
And as he goes through the case.
Yeah.
But the serial killer, as he's killing these people, what makes him unique, I think, anyways, different than other serial killers, is that he not only chooses his victim based on the letter of their name, but he kills them in a method also using that same letter. So, if it's A, he's got to kill that person using something or in a manner that uses the letter A. and then B, and so forth. So there's some pretty unique slangs.
Oh my God! And does the killer, the detective, then figures out that he's got to figure out what's driving this guy,
right?
And then figure out who the next victim is. He wants to save people as well, right?
Right.
And is he dealing with families issues at the same time, or is that separate? How does that work?
Yeah, he's a divorced cop who has his wife has custody of their son, but his son comes and visits him, shared custody, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
And his son happens to be there, and so he has to worry about his son. He always has issues with his ex-wife. They're always getting into arguments.
Yeah.
There's a little side storyline where he starts to develop a relationship with one of the other characters. But,
yeah.
It doesn't get deep into that at all.
I got it. Do you have to flesh out? So you have to flesh out that character. You have to know that character.
Yeah.
You might know him so much, you might think you know him, and then he sort of changes.
He changes, yeah. The character definitely, you have one idea for the character, and then as you start writing, the character starts changing.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned earlier, the character kind of leads you. And so his character changes. And I don't feel like I have anything to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Do you picture somebody as the character in your mind?
I try to picture somebody in your mind, but not any very specific. Like if I was to choose an actor, I wouldn't be able to. I didn't have an actor's face or anything like that in mind. But I try to envision what the character looks like. Anyways,
I'm looking at the acknowledgments. And I would like to give a huge shout out to Captain John Cartledge of the Northampton Police Department.
Yep. Yeah, he's a friend of mine actually. He's a student of mine in martial arts. I've known him for years, and
he's a student of yours. And wait a minute, you're a teacher of martial arts.
I also teach martial arts. Yeah.
Do you sing as well?
If you karaoke maybe, but nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that.
All right, okay.
But yeah, so when I was writing this story, I had asked him if I could ask him some questions because I don't know anything about police work, what goes on behind the scenes, So I asked him if I could run some things by him. And he said, absolutely. And what I was doing was I would write a chapter and send it off to him because I wanted it to sound authentic. I wanted it to be real. I don't want somebody to read it, especially if a police officer reads it and says, no, this is not how it works.
Yeah, sure.
So I would write a chapter and I'd send it to him, and he would read it, and then he would get back to me with feedback on what I did right or what I did wrong and what I needed to fix and so forth.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Oh.
So I had to give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah. I also like to thank my editor, Elizabeth Kelly.
Yep.
Talk about editing, because I know a little bit about editing because, I edited James' book.
Oh,
you've heard those stories maybe. I don't know.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's a story in itself. That could be a horror story. That is a good horror story. Somebody wants to write a book, and working with the editor on the writing of the book and where it goes there. I mean, I'm putting that craw into your, or I'm putting that into your craw, and you can make me whatever. I don't know, but isn't that a good idea? So that's what happened with James and I. But talk about your editor.
Okay, so my editor, I do the same thing with my editor as I did with John, the captain of the police department.
Yeah.
I would write a chapter and I send it off to her, and then she might receive 4, 5, 6 chapters from me before I hear anything back.
Right.
But when I do get the pages back, they're usually redlined all over the place with all kinds of things. She's really great with the content of it.
Yeah. The arc of it, the shape of the
not really.
Sentences, or what?
No, she looks at the content in that she does. I'm thankful that she does a lot of the research on some things as well.
Yeah.
So if I'm like in one of my books when I was flashbacking to like the 1920s,
right?
I did some research, wrote about that era. And then she came back and redlined a whole bunch of things saying, no, housing developments back in the 1920s weren't the way they are today. And there was a lot of things that I didn't know about that she actually dug deeper into. And she would write full paragraphs about how I needed to fix it because it didn't exist then, or I have to word it differently because sometimes people will get offended. I'm dealing with there's characters that have mental health issues,
right?
And she knows a lot about the mental health industry, and she'll get back to me and say, no, that's not how it works. Psychiatrists or psychologists don't work that way, or they don't talk like that, or the patients don't act like that, or you've got the wrong disorder.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
And so she plays a large part in making sure that I have the facts correct within my books.
Does she ever say this is a lousy sentence?
Yes. She does. and she lets.
Does she say it that way?
And she will. She does. She says this isn't right, or she's long-winded, or the sentence doesn't make any sense. And then and I'll a lot of times I'll question her on it, saying, well, "What do you mean? How does that make sense?"
Because James, when I would present him with this page of red lines, would look at me and go, "What?" And and then we would go back and forth, and I felt like I was hurting him actually, at times.
Right.
But that's because we had a relationship before. But your editor, do you ever go, will she ever stop?
Well, when you're writing these, this is your baby. This is you want to say certain things. You want your voice.
Yeah.
And when you get some of those corrections, or when complete sentences are crossed off, you feel like, no, I really wanted to say that. How can you cross that off?
Yeah.
And she'll come back and say, it's not necessary. It's not necessary for the story. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it slows it up.
The reader doesn't want to, or doesn't need to know that, or the reader doesn't want to know that.
Don't overtell.
That's right. And I feel like, sometimes you're hurt by it. As the writer, you're hurt by it.
Yeah,
but in the end, when I look at what she's done, I feel like the books are so much better because of what she's asked of me to do with the changes and such. And she's very
Does she ever write a sentence for you?
She has, but I never use it the way she has it written. I use the sentence, but I change it a little bit.
Yeah.
To
who
words,
you are.
Who I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have used some of her ideas and suggestions.
Yeah.
I write it in my own.
In your own voice.
Yeah.
In your own voice.
Right.
How long does it take you to write a book? Like The Alphabet Killer, which is available with all the Dark series. This is not a Dark, from the Dark series, and your short stories are all found. Jeff Van Oudenhove, it's on Amazon.
Yep.
But how long does it take?
Well, so when I got serious was right around when the pandemic hit, so I had plenty of time to write, so I was doing a lot of writing. There wasn't much else to do, right?
Sure.
So I ended up writing the complete Dark series, 5 books in a year and 3 months.
My God, you were at that. Oh my God, you were right there, weren't you?
Yeah, and everything was just flowing, and I was able to just keep at it in writing. I wrote my second book. I think I wrote my second book in 3 months. Again, I had that time because of COVID. Now, I would say, because everything's back to, full-time work and
sure.
I'm teaching, and now it probably takes me about 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months to write a book.
A book.
Yeah.
And then once you've written it, it has to be, well, what illustrated in a sense, or well, you have to put it on the page.
Right, yep.
And I noticed that especially in this Alphabet Killers, each one of the chapters has a different, well, it's not a different font, but they're really lovely, different ways of saying, like I just saw a book of the word connections.
Yep.
It's one of the chapters, and it has a certain font and colorful. All of that has to be. Who decides this?
I did that. I've done all of that. Yeah, I've done all of the interior work on it. So I've formatted the book, I choose the fonts for it, decide how I want the sizing to be, and such like that.
And your cover.
So the cover,
which are really something else. Your covers are distinctive. I mean, you know that it is the series. You know that this is the Dark series, just by the way they look on the page.
Yeah, I've had a really great cover designer. I was fortunate enough to have a cover designer, somebody I work with actually, in my regular job, who dabbles in graphic arts and such. And when I learned that, I asked him if he wouldn't mind, working on a cover for me for my first book. And so he did.
Right.
And I thought it came out great, and I loved it. And so when I was coming out with my second book, I asked him if he wanted to do that again, and he seemed more than happy to want to do it. He seemed excited to do it, and so I've asked him each time if he wouldn't mind doing my book covers, and he's so far graciously,
They're really something else. When you go online and look at this, they really make you want to look. And the word dark is written the same way.
Yes.
On every, so it's like identifying, it's your trademark or whatever.
Right.
The
series, yeah.
Yeah. 5 of these great books. Oh my gosh. All right, we got to come back because I got lots of other questions for you. I'm going to play, it's autumn, right?
Yep.
'Tis autumn, as we say in show business. 'Tis.
Okay.
Ever use 'tis in your books? Ever? 'Tis.
No,
I don't
think so.
think that word exists. We don't ever use the word 'tis.
I mean, 'tis the season.
Up,
right?
For God's sakes, exactly right. 'Tis the season.
That's right.
But that's the only time you'd ever
Pretty
use
much.
the word 'tis.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so there is a song called 'Tis Autumn that is so lovely, and it's written. You can hear it sung by many, many people. This is one of my favorites. The guy's name is Bob Dorough, like bureau.
Okay.
Dorough. I heard this many, many times, and then this past weekend I was listening to. Do you listen to John Pizzarelli on the radio?
No.
Radio Deluxe. He and his wife, the guitarist John Pizzarelli and his wife Jennifer Mulaski, have a radio show, and it's mainly about music, but they talk in between. But mostly it's about music, and they play some great stuff. And they played this version of 'Tis Autumn, and I thought to myself, this is the most distinctive voice, number one. Number two, the way this guy sings, I just love it. And I know him well. His name is, but I've always called him Bobby Dorough, and his name is Bob Dorough.
Okay.
But it's spelled D-O, let me get it right, D-O-R-O-U-G-H, Durough.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Vander. How are we going to do this? Well, because your name is so distinctive that if somebody were looking for you, if I put Jeff Vanderhoven, would it come up? Or how do we find your name without knowing it?
I mean, I think if you just go with Jeff Van O, I think my name might pop up. But you can also look under, and if you see on the side here, Javo Publication. All my books will come up on Amazon as well under Javo Publication.
Well, there it is, Javo Publications. Yep. Okay. I love the cover, incidentally, of this book here. It's got this, what is that, Omega or whatever? What is that?
The Omega symbol, yeah.
The Omega symbol. It's just great. Bobby Dorough. It's 'tis the season, but the season is autumn. So this is 'Tis Autumn. Listen to what he does with this great song.
All right.
The trees say they're tired, they've borne too much fruit. Spoiled on the wayside, there's no dispute. Now shedding leaves, they don't give a hoot. La-di-da, scope, chubia, 'tis autumn. Old Father Time checked, so there'd be no doubt. He called on the north wind to come on out. Now hand in hand So proudly they shout, la-di-da, scope and chubby-ah, 'tis autumn. Well, the birds got together to talk about the weather. School-ya-dee, school-ya-da, school-ya-do. After making their decision with birdie-like precision, they turned around and made a beeline for the south. My holding you close really is no crime. Ask the birds and the bees and old Father Time. It's just to help the mercury climb. La-di-da, scope and chubby-ah, 'tis autumn. Well, the birds got together to talk about the weather. Scoopy-dee-tweet-tweet-tweet-tweet-tweet-tweet-tweet-tweet-tweet. Doobie-doobie-doobie-tweet-tweet-tweet-tweet-tweet-tweet. Bird talk. After making their decision with that well-known birdie-like precision, they turned around and made a beeline for the south. My holding you close really is no crime. It ain't no crime. Ask the birds and the bees and old Father Time. It's just to help the mercury climb. La-di-da, scoop and chubby-ah, 'tis autumn. 'Tis autumn, autumn.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Wow, it is November 21st where you are, 2023. I've had a great birthday show. My birthday is November 20th. We're taping on November 20th, everyone. This is Monday before Thanksgiving, before our tree lighting ceremony this Saturday night, 6 o'clock. It's a really wonderful time for kids and families. Please come down to the green. 6 o'clock, JPEG Luca was just in to say hello to me, and he's doing the lights and sound for it. We have free hot chocolate, free glow sticks provided by our premier sponsor, Bank ESB. We have, I think I might even have a Santa hat or two. So that everyone kind of feels like in the mood for Santa and Mrs. Claus to come in. They come in a wonderful way, and we light the big holiday tree. Then they sit in the pavilion on Park Square and give out little treats to the kids and meet them for pictures. It's a lovely evening. 'Tis the season, as you just said.
Right.
Yeah. Jeff Van Oudenhove.
That was better. Yeah.
Okay, Jeff Van Oudenhove, everybody, has written a series of great books. We've been talking about his latest book. When did this come out? The Alphabet Killer.
That one came out in March, actually.
March. Okay. And how do you market? That's the other thing I think we should just pass on a little bit on.
Yeah, that's the difficult part. You can do advertising on Amazon. You can do advertising on Facebook, things like that. I haven't found a lot of success with the advertising that I've done that way. It might just be me. I don't know, but
no, it's not you at all. You're charming, intelligent, able to carry on a conversation, and interested and interesting. How about that? You can put that on the back of the next book.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I have found that social media has helped a lot with the advertising for my book. I've been posting quite a bit about it. I belong to some reader groups, some writer groups. You can occasionally post your own books on there. Just to.
Do you have an Instagram account at all?
I do.
How do we find you on Instagram? Because I'm on Instagram as well. So we've got something in common.
It's my full name, so good luck trying to spell it and find me, right?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know.
You got it. Okay.
I should have, when I started this whole process, I should have come up with a pseudonym or,
I am the same exact way. My handle is PlassBob. PLASSE Bob.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually go, and I do this hashtags afterward because it gets you more listeners or whatever, or people subscribing.
Yep.
Mine is Wow, It's Bob. So I should have used Wow, It's Bob. So easy.
Right.
Or Wow, It's Tuesday.
Right.
And you can find me that way. But you certainly, you need to know my last name and then my first name and then put it together. And the same thing is whole true. Yeah. Would you think of starting another one?
Starting another book?
No, starting another Instagram. Maybe call it Java, GAVO Publishing, because everyone is going to go on and buy one of these books.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I had a hard time getting on it the first time because I was never a social media person. I didn't even have a Facebook account until after I wrote like my first 2 books or something like that. Somebody said, you need to start going on there and posting. And I said, I'm never on Facebook. And so I started a Facebook account. And then more recently, I was told by another writer that I needed to get on Instagram. And I did that, and I'm
connected. You can connect the Instagram account to Threads and to Facebook because it's all Meta, whatever that Meta is.
Yeah.
They own me now.
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm as
evil Zucker
fluent
guy
in Instagram.
Yeah. Pardon?
That evil Zucker guy.
Yeah. The idea here is that, like, I started my account with. This is not my Facebook account. My Facebook account gets lots of hits and stuff. But my Instagram account, I started with 0. And in 4 months now, I'm up to 500 subscribers who regularly listen to me.
Oh,
and I've noticed that it's like one of those, what do they call those pyramid schemes where it doubles and triples and then quadruples and whatever and gets. Sure. I've noticed like in the last week and a half, I got like 80 in like 1 week, whereas the week before it was like 40 and the 30 and 20 and 10 and 8. I mean, like it, and it snowballs. And I do a reel every day. Now, there are many people that don't do that, but I'm all over the place. But I've noticed, like for instance, Ann Patchett has Parnassus Books. That Ann owns Parnassus Books, and the great writer Ann Patchett owns Parnassus Books. She does a reel, or she has other people doing reels.
Yep.
I'll do a reel about your. I'll do a reel. I've got these books at home.
Oh,
I'm going to do a reel in the next 2 weeks for you, on your book. And yeah.
A lot of people have told me I should get on TikTok too. Which I'm not on that as well.
Well,
so
yeah.
I got to learn all this stuff. You know?
My God! Well, you're going to learn it, and we're going to make you a big star. I'm going to read you just to whet everybody's appetite, the Alphabet Killer prologue. It begins. This had been a rough city with its dark, towering spires looming far above the dregs who crawled in the dark, rat-infested bowels. It had a way of chewing up people and spitting them out as if their lives were meaningless, leaving them to scatter among the lowest of the low like the rest of the city's vermin. The fading light of the sun as it sank behind the artificial skyline of metal and glass cast the threatening shadows of those that lurked behind every corner of every building. They presented themselves boldly, cautioning random, hapless passers-by of the impending dangers that awaited them should the shadowy distortions be taken too lightly or ignored. Whatever was once good in this connuberation was slowly receding into the sewers like the rest of the fecal matter after a hard rain. It was getting harder and harder to clean up the mess.
Yeah, you got a good reading voice, you know.
I think I got a job, everyone. I don't know about no. We got Mr. Forney is also the teacher. Steve Forney over here is
he's the voice of the Thunderbirds.
The voice of the Thunderbirds, and we've connected. So you'll probably in the future be able to hear us on audiobooks. Both Steve Forney and I reading the Dark.
Are you sure
series.
you got the patience for that, Bob? There's a lot to do that. I know somebody that does that, and there's a lot of.
I'll read the short stories. We'll start there.
Yeah. I mean, I tried myself. We'll see. It took a long time, and I still haven't completed it.
Oh my God! You know, it's one of those things when you like something. When you like what you're reading. I mean, if I once was reading the news, I was reading for the blind, and I had to read the newspaper every day. God, that was dreadful.
Right.
But it was a kind thing, and so I did it. But oh God, I would. And these topics I could care less about. You know, you're going up. But this I could get my teeth into. Let's go over for everyone in these last few moments. Oh, we've got a little bit more time, don't I, Peter? I have another 10 minutes or so to fill, right?
You do, yeah.
See, I'm taping ahead of time, so we stopped. So we have a little more time to do. But let's go over the series. The Dark series, okay.
Yep.
Are there interconnected characters in the Dark series, incidentally?
Yes.
Oh, there are. So tell us about that.
So when I initially started the series, I wanted each book to be its own independent story, but have interwoven connections between them, but not necessarily a continuous story. And I think I did a pretty good job with the first two books. Like you could read the first two books independently, and you wouldn't ever have to buy another book in the series if you didn't want to.
Right.
But then you'll notice that there's connections between the first two. But then by the time I got to the third story, the third book, I really needed to start connecting things more in line with each other.
Yes.
And so when you read the third book, you kind of have to go right into the fourth and right into the fifth book. And I think, by the time you get to the end, it comes full circle with the characters. There's characters in the first book that are still in the last book.
Right.
And some very important things happen.
I was watching a show the other night based on a graphic novel. I'm trying to think of what the heck the name of the show was. But it was one of those shows where you had to watch the whole thing to really understand because it jumped back and forth in time, and it was about time travel as well.
Yep.
And so well done. It takes place over 4 time periods. It is, oh God, it's on Netflix right now. It's one of those films or one of those series that they're touting very much. And I wish I'm
thinking of one. I don't know if it is.
Tell me.
Bodies?
Yes.
Bodies, yeah.
You know it? Have you seen it?
I started watching that one night.
And what happened? You got bored and couldn't figure it out?
No, I was actually enjoying it. I think I watched 3 episodes. But then I shift, then I started watching something else, and I always say I'm going to go back, but I've shifted to something else, and I'm kind of still on that something else right now before I come back to it.
Oh, all right. Okay. But you're going to have to catch up because there's a lot happening in that show that, like you say, that by the end of it, everything makes sense.
Right.
Everything makes sense. And
you have to close all those loopholes. Any open storylines within the story, they have to be closed. I think I did pretty well with that. I've been told by readers who have read the whole series that I didn't leave anything open, and I managed to close everything.
Right.
So.
Which of the books is your favorite of this series?
Book 2, Dark Lane, is my favorite. That one. That one, for whatever reason, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And everything was flowing. Everything was just going so great for that book. And and I think it shows with the writing and how the storyline takes place.
Yeah.
It was just so easy.
Yeah. Which is the hardest one that you've written out of these 5? The most difficult for you to have written?
I think the third book, and I think that shows as well. I think it's the hardest one to get through.
The hardest one is your favorite one.
No,
Dark Lane.
Dark Lane is my favorite. Dark
right.
Queen is the
okay. Where is
right
that?
In front of you.
Oh, right in front, sitting right here. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so that one, it's different than all the rest. It's got a very different storyline, very different feel.
Right.
And that was purposeful, but at the same time, I think that readers have had a hard time getting through that one because it's so different, and which makes it difficult for you to then continue on and go to book 4. So I kind of I blundered there possibly.
Oh no, you didn't blunder. People, no, you didn't blunder at all. I didn't hear a complaint from my spouse who reads them.
Well. But I just felt it was a necessary story. It had to take place, but it's very different than the others.
I gotcha. You know? It's almost like you're watching a television series, isn't it? Isn't it? I don't know if it's awful and it's good at the same time. That we in this digital computer age or television age, it's the golden age of television as far as I'm concerned, because we get to see some really top-notch versions of written work, whether it's a graphic novel, a regular novel, or just something out of the mind of somebody brilliant.
Right.
But I think that, is it taking away from people enjoying a book and reading a book? I don't know. Lately, I've found that if I watch television early in the evening, as I said earlier, if it's 5, if I'm sitting down at 6 o'clock and I watch 6 to 8, or 6 to 9, I get 3 hours of television, and that's an awful lot of television.
Right.
I need to read. I need to connect with the written word. But I worry. I worry that kids don't read, or that maybe adults don't even read. Parents need to read.
Right. I mean, I think you find that also with, with social media too. I mean, people are so occupied with their phones and going on to social media and things like that they're not reading. So
and I remember a time when I felt like I just wasted an hour or two. When I was younger, it was wasting an hour or two trying to find the man of my dreams. Really. If I could have just... if I could look back on my 78 years on my birthday, I would say that there is some time spent where I'm sitting waiting for the phone to ring or whatever. I would look back and I would say, I'm glad to be where I am today, but I would redo that kind of stuff. Get right to it. Read a book.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for the phone and worrying and going out and trying to attract and whatever it is. I think it's the same way with in all circles, whether you're gay, straight, whatever, that there is that relationship. We are so in need of relationships in our lives that sometimes we know that we could have relationships with books as well. And the books will often lead us to being better related in real life. I mean, I really think that,
Well, I have to say that, the writing process is a lonely process.
Totally lonely, yeah.
And so I wanna just say that when I started, after I wrote my first book, I joined a great group here in Westfield, the Whip City Wordsmiths.
And, yes, James is part of that group.
Exactly. And I think that's helped me, be able to communicate with people and being able to read some of my stories to those folks, and they give you great critique. And praise if it's worthy of it.
Right.
And I think that helps build that relationship as well. Because I don't know, I'm a very enclosed person.
Oh, yeah.
And I think being among that group has helped me kind of. Well, I'm here. Look at this. I'm on your show right now.
No, it's exactly right. I think if you've got a product or you're creative, regardless of what that is, you can take that creativity and you can be validated, you can feel good about your days when you create. You write every day and you create every day. I've made up my mind that the rest of my life is that every day there is a creation that happens, and I have to do it.
Yeah, it's important.
It's important. And so I so applaud you. So, all right, in our last few moments, I just want to go down and I want to say that it's a pleasure. You got to come back and talk about whatever you want on my show. You can come back and talk about boxes or containers, or you can talk about reading, etc. I really love this. Tell us then, The Alphabet Killer is the name of your new novel. It's been out since March. It's worth reading, everyone. You can find it on Amazon. You can go to Javo, put in Javo, or Jeff's name, Jeff Odenhove.
Van Odenhove.
Oh, I forgot the band.
Yeah, you're killing it every time.
There's got to be a murder mystery, or there's got to be a psychological thriller about me.
What?
Oh, yeah. Jeff Van Odenhove. Right. And it's a thrill to be able to say that these are good books. These are good reading. The Alphabet Killer. The Dark series. So we start with tell them, where are they?
So Dark Place is
Dark Place
first.
Okay.
Then followed by Dark Lane. That's my favorite in the series.
Okay.
Dark Queen.
Yeah.
Dark Child. That's my second favorite.
Uh-huh.
And also differently, but it's a really good story, I think. And The Final Dark, of course.
And The Final Dark. And then if you want to you want some bathroom reading? I always think that short stories are written for people who go to the bathroom.
Sure.
Really. Why not? I mean, like, yeah. You want to take things in short and sweet, etc. sometimes, and not have to consider what's next or whatever. At any rate, Screams in the Dark and Other Twisted Tales, and they all have great endings. Yeah, the twisted part is the important part there.
That's right.
They're published by Javo, J-A-V-O Publishing, and they're available at Amazon, and you can also find them at B&N, Barnes & Noble, probably.
Well, my first book and my most recent book you can find on Barnes & Noble. Yeah.
Okay, alrighty. Good. Jeff, I can't tell you how happy I am that I happened to see you over the weekend, because you've given me a very good birthday, and you have given our listeners a lot to think about. And I hope you go out and you buy a good book like the Dark series or the new Alphabet Killer series. And let's hope these make it to Netflix. Then I can even watch them.
Well, you never know. I mean,
you never know.
The Alphabet Killer was actually sent to somebody in Los Angeles who owns a movie studio, or who runs a movie studio. So you never know.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. I'm going to play I can't play on my birthday. I can't get by without playing a Tony Bennett song. And this song was written at the beginning of World War II, believe it or not, or somewhere during World War II. And instead, so there, it's about I'll be seeing you after the war. But lately now, with so many folks in trouble in the world, fighting the good fight, wherever that might be, I think it's so appropriate. What also I love about this song is sung by Tony Bennett, who sang into the end of his life, even with Alzheimer's. The mind might have ended, but the song continued. And the song continued even in his last days. And you can hear his soul when he sings. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? This is Tony Bennett. I'll be seeing you next week. See you at the Mayor's Tree Lighting this Saturday evening, and at all of the WOW events. Go on westfieldandweekends.com. There's an event on December 1st. It's the Children's Ball. You got to go there. It's going to be great.
And you'll
fun.
be seeing everybody on Making the List in a couple of minutes.
Oh, my God. Making the List. You got it. I'm going to be on that. I think I'm getting up at 8 o'clock, if you figure it out, in order to be able to be on that show. Bye, everyone.
Cathedral bells were tolling, and our hearts sang on. Was it the spell of Paris, or the April dawn? Who knows if we shall meet again? But when the morning chimes ring sweet again, sweet again, I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousel, the chestnut tree, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon. But I'll be seeing